I like pleasure spiked with pain, and music is my aeroplane. It's my aeroplane. Pleasure spiked with pain. World Pilots Day has been celebrated every year on April 26 since 2014, and I thought it was a good occasion to make some cocktails about planes and aviation. Some of these cocktails are quite popular: Aviation itself, Paper Plane. Others are less known but no less tasty. So hit like and let's start with the Aviation. It's a gin-based cocktail with roots tracing back to the early 20th century, debuting in Hugo Enslин's Recipes for Mixed Drinks in 1916, while he worked at New York City's Hotel Wallach. However, the cocktail fell into obscurity shortly after its inception due to the scarcity of one of its key ingredients, crème de violette liqueur, which vanished from the market completely by the 1960s. During its absence, resourceful imbibers continued to enjoy the drink by omitting violet liqueur, and this trend may have been influenced in part by Harry Craddock's 1930s The Savoy Cocktail Book, which featured Aviation recipe without the liqueur. Personally, I'm not a big fan of this cocktail, and it even made it into the top 10 most overrated cocktails list. You can check it out. So today I'm going to make it with a slightly improved recipe. The cocktail is shaken, and to the shaker we're gonna add gin, 2 ounces, 60 milliliters, maraschino or maraschino liqueur. In the original it is half an ounce, 15 milliliters, but I prefer to add less. About a third of an ounce, 10 milliliters. Otherwise, it's gonna overpower everything else. Crème de violette liqueur. In the original, it's a quarter ounce, 7 milliliters, but I double it. So half an ounce, 15 milliliters. And freshly squeezed lemon juice. Half an ounce, 15 milliliters. Fill the shaker with ice. And shake it vigorously, dedicating the shake to this comment. Fine strain to the cocktail glass. And garnish with a couple of cocktail cherries. Check out how to make them. Still not my favorite cocktail, but it's better this way, for me at least. It's not as acidic, because I added less lemon juice, and it's a little bit sweeter and more balanced this way. If you like the original recipe, please tell me in the comments why. Another popular aircraft-themed cocktail is Paper Plane. It's so common nowadays, one might think it's also an old classic, but that's not the case. Paper Plane was invented in 2008 in Chicago's The Violet Hour by Sam Ross, now an award-winning bartender and the co-owner of Attaboy in New York City. The Paper Plane is a modern variation on the last word, a classic equals part drink composed of gin, lime, maraschino liqueur and green chartreuse. It has different ingredients, but follows the same template and consists of equal parts of bourbon, Amaro, Aperol or Campari if you prefer more bitter flavors, and lemon juice. The cocktail is shaken, and to the shaker we're gonna add bourbon, 3/4 ounce, 22 milliliters, Aperol or other aperitivo, 3/4 ounce, 22 milliliters, Amaro, 22 milliliters, and freshly squeezed lemon juice, the same amount, 3/4 ounce, 22 milliliters. Fill the shaker with ice. And shake it vigorously, dedicating the shake to this comment. Fine strain to the cocktail glass and garnish with a Paper Plane. If you went to school, you know how to make one. Much better. I like bourbon more than gin, but the main thing, it doesn't have any maraschino liqueur. It's balanced, it's sweet and sour. It's almost like a sour, actually. Something like a bourbon sour with a little bit of bitter Aperol. Not too bitter, but bittersweet Aperol. Sam Ross, respect. There are also at least 2 variations on Paper Plane, called Lost Plane with dark rum instead of bourbon, and Broken Plane with gin and elderflower liqueur, but they're too similar to make right now, maybe next time. Pan American Airways, also known as Pan Am, once embodied the epitome of style for jet-setting travelers. Thus, it's no wonder that its namesake cocktail is equally glamorous. Created in 1939 by Charles Baker, a renowned cocktail writer and world traveler, the Pan Am Clipper cocktail blends apple brandy, lime juice, grenadine and absinthe. Baker, who lived near Pan Am's first international airport in Coconut Grove, Florida, included this recipe in his influential book The Gentleman's Companion, attributing it to a pilot friend's notebook. That said, it's basically a Jack Rose cocktail with 2 dashes of absinthe, but why not make it? The cocktail is shaken, and to the shaker we're gonna add Calvados, 2 ounces, 60 milliliters. You can also use apple jack or apple brandy. Freshly squeezed lime juice, 3/4 ounce, 22 milliliters. Grenadine syrup, half an ounce, 15 milliliters. Fill the shaker with ice and shake it vigorously, dedicating the shake to this comment. Spray your cocktail glass with a little bit of absinthe and fine strain the cocktail. And garnish with a lime wheel. Great, perfect cocktail. It's in balance. It's a little bit sour, a little bit sweet, and pretty strong. The main flavor is, of course, Calvados or other apple brandy, because it's so much of it, and I like it. I'm actually a fan of alcoholic apple cocktails, so try it if you are too. Airmail. This potent little drink could date back to the early days of airmail, which began in 1918. However, the earliest known reference to this drink is in 1930s promotional pamphlet Bacardi and its many uses. That Bacardi leaflet calls for Bacardi Gold rum, while the 1940s book Here's How by Whitfield specifies fine rum. A well-aged, blended Caribbean rums work well. Both recipes call for a highball glass, 10 ounces or less, and say this is a short drink served long. This cocktail is shaken, and to the shaker we're gonna add dark Nicaraguan rum, 1 ounce, 30 milliliters. Freshly squeezed lime juice, half an ounce, 15 milliliters. Honey syrup, half an ounce, 15 milliliters, or just honey, 10 milliliters, a third of an ounce. Stir a little to mix in the honey. Fill the shaker with ice and shake it vigorously, dedicating the shake to this comment. Fill the highball glass with ice. Fine strain the cocktail and top up with Prosecco or other dry white sparkling wine. Stir a little to combine and don't garnish because it says serve naked, so here it is. Nice cocktail. It's not as light as you might think. It's pretty strong, and the gas in champagne gives it an additional kick, so be careful. But it's pretty balanced. It's a long drink. I don't think that champagne is the best mixer for this cocktail, just because it only makes it stronger and not dilutes it too much. But the taste is... I like the taste. Tell me in the comments which cocktails did I miss. I didn't want to make B52 or for the nth time. By the way, I have a whole video about that, check it out. Also, I don't have ingredients to make Jet Pilot, which calls for grapefruit syrup, cinnamon syrup, velvet falernum, pot still rum, and herbstura bitters, but I'm always open to suggestions. Check out my other videos, all the recipes in text form are on my website thedrcork.com. If you want to support my channel, join the YouTube membership or become a patron. Drink responsibly, and as always, Dosvidos!